The fire crackled in the center of the dark cave, a small circle of light against the infinite black. Outside, a violent storm lashed against the cliffside, the wind howling like a wounded beast. Cale huddled near the orange flames, watching flickering shadows dance across the jagged stone walls. Beside him, Mora gripped a sharp stone so tightly her knuckles turned white. Suddenly, the world shattered. Lightning struck a nearby tree with a deafening roar that shook the very foundations of the earth. Cale stood up, his gaze fixed on the blinding flash that burned behind his eyelids. He dropped his hunting spear and knelt on the cold ground, surrendering to the power of the sky. Cale raised his trembling hands toward the ceiling of the cave, reaching for the source of the fire. Mora followed suit, mimicking his posture in a silent pact of survival. They did not speak. They simply waited for the thunder to fade into the distance. The next morning, under a gray sky, Cale carved a jagged bolt into the cave wall with a flint stone. He placed a handful of dried berries beneath the etching, a humble gift to the storm. Days passed into weeks. Cale and Mora returned to the etching before every hunt. They left scraps of meat and polished stones, watching the sky for signs. When the clouds parted, they pointed to the sun. When the rain fell, they bowed their heads in submission. A tribe began to gather at the cave entrance, drawn by the strange persistence of these two figures. They watched Cale and Mora leave their offerings, sensing a bridge between the mortal and the divine. The tribe members lowered their eyes and knelt in silence, joining the dance of shadows. Fear of the unknown was slowly transforming into a rhythmic, comforting ritual. They established a set of gestures to appease the forces they could not control. One elder began to paint the ceiling with vibrant images of the storm, turning the cave into a sanctuary. He pointed to the drawings while the others watched with wide eyes. The tribe began to hum in unison, a low vibration that filled the cave and drowned out the wind. They created a boundary between the sacred and the profane, defining what could be touched and what must be feared. Generations passed, and the cave walls filled with 1,000 symbols. The rituals became complex, involving the rhythmic beat of drums and melodic chants that echoed through the stone halls. A hierarchy emerged from the smoke of the central fire. Those who claimed to interpret the signs sat closest to the flames, their faces painted with the soot of history. They dictated the rules of the tribe, deciding who was worthy and who was cast out. The belief system solidified into a rigid structure. It provided answers to the terrifying origin of the rain and the predictable cycle of the sun. It bound the tribe together through shared silence and shared fear, creating a world where every lightning strike had a name and every shadow had a meaning. The primitive fear had become a civilization's pillar, a truth that no one dared to question. The religion did not start with a grand vision of a god. It did not begin with a voice from the clouds. It started with a single bolt of lightning, a sudden crack of thunder, and a lonely man who knelt in the dark, trying to make sense of the light.